Hey everybody, Katie Sutton here, intuitive channel and founder of Zen Within Academy and the New Earth Now School with your Zen Wednesday update here on this January 17th Wednesday. I hope y'all are doing really well. We are here in 2024 and I keep hearing from everybody that they feel change and they feel new energy coming in and they're very excited, but they're also a little tired. So if you're in that boat, just understand that you are right there along with the rest of the collective and what I'm seeing in my sessions with folks. I do think that this is going to be a really important and transformational year for all of us, and I know it will come with its challenges, but I am really excited about the energies that I see coming in and the steps that I see people taking, especially my longtime clients that I've been working with. I am noticing a pretty palpable shift in their energy field. I'm noticing a shift in my energy field, and that feels really good, and I'm really excited about that. You might notice that I look a little different. I cut all of my hair off. That's one of the ways that I'm honoring my shift in energy as I move into 2024. It's been about 5 years since I had my hair this short, so just getting used to it again and enjoying playing with it a little bit. So I hope that you are finding a way to honor these energetic shifts as well. I was thinking about what I wanted to chat with you all about today, and one of our themes for January is relating anew. And y'all might have seen I have a New Earth Now school launch happening, and we're going to have a new class starting on January 23rd called New Earth Relating. And I've been having a really hard time articulating to people, besides the obvious, which is we're working on our relationship, why this is so important right now. When I bring things forward, there is this kind of like heart pull of why I'm teaching something, and it's normally ahead of something that we're going to experience. And so this morning I was sitting down and talking with the guides about this year and why am I teaching this relationship course now? Why is it so important? Like, they were really adamant that I needed to get it done in the first 6 months of the year. And then I remembered that it's an election year. And I remembered some of our prior experiences with elections, and I remembered all of the polarity that it causes and all of the things that get stirred up in the collective when we have something like politics or major things going on. And I was really thinking about the back half of the year and how do we meet that energy, right? I think a lot of us have maybe a traumatized part of ourselves that has looked at how much polarity is happening in the world and how it gets stirred up by politics and by the virus and by different things. And we've pulled our energy back and we're almost unsure of how to be out in the world and own our spirituality and own our sensitivity and own that perhaps our views might be different than the average person around us. And I think one of the things that's really hard, at least for me as a highly sensitive person and an empath, is when we get into these periods where something has triggered that duality to such a degree, we feel that internally as individuals who are sensitive in our bodies as a conflict, as an energetic conflict, as an anxiety. And the guides told me that this year is about us expanding and being seen more as spiritual beings and stepping out of our spiritual closets and stepping into our purpose work and getting out there and building community and collaborating and co-creating and all of those wonderful things that we all really actually want to do. But what I find with most of my clients is that there's a desire for that. There's a desire for that connection. There's a desire for that community, but they fail to take any action to create it, and they fail to try to foster those relationships because there are so many fears and so many disappointments and so many betrayals that they've experienced or they've witnessed that it shuts down that relational space. And in our energy field, the energy center that is tied to relationships, one of them is this high heart chakra. And when I was channeling in the beginning, I was channeling my 12th dimensional healing modality, and my guides were teaching me about the 12 chakras so I could teach other people about it. They called this the golden vessel chakra. And this energy center is one that allows us to basically hook in and connect in with the collective in a community-oriented sense. It's also, interestingly, the energy center that helps us to bond with animals. They have a similar energy center right between their shoulder blades on their body, and this is where we bond with them. And so if you're an animal person like me, you know what I'm talking about when I say bond with them. There's like this unspoken, unconditional love and acceptance that travels between you and the animal. And a lot of us who are highly sensitive people, we feel safer around animals and beings of nature instead of humans, because this energy center is so sensitive for us, and it's where we tend to have a hard time taking a deep breath. We hold that anxiety, we hold that fear. And so we're afraid to open this, and we're afraid to open our heart and connect more deeply with those around us because of the trauma that we've experienced. And so we might have a few people in our lives where we feel safe to just be fully ourselves, but the majority of our relationships might look like either very one-sided or very limited in connection. And there is not a single person that I think I have ever worked with that doesn't have some kind of energetic blockage here in this energy center, because we are all relational. We crave relationships. We crave connection. We crave being with one another. And our society and the way things are set up is so counter to that vibration. And I used to joke that, oh, I didn't pull the relationship card in this lifetime. That's not one of the things that I'm working on. And gosh, anytime I make a statement like that, I made that years ago, like it always comes back to bite me in the ass. Because after that statement, I would say within 6 months, it seemed like all I was doing was working on relationships. And it seems like for the last, 4 or 5 years, it's all I've been doing is working on how do I stay in my truth and then be in relationship with other people, honoring what their truth is, and actually allowing that connection to be deep, even if we're not in 100% alignment on what we believe. And how do I meet those connections with compassion, right? And then how do I open more deeply into my true deep friendships and my partnership, right? This has been something that has honestly been really hard for me. I thought, oh, I'm really good at it. But what I realized was I was really good at origamiing myself to be whatever those around me needed. I wasn't good at honoring me in those relationships. And it was really scary. I remember a few years ago, like 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, when I really started to shift my work and using my voice and speaking up in relationship. It was so scary to ask for what I needed and to be vulnerable and to not have this kind of wall up of protection of, look, I'm fine, everything's great, I'm the healer, I can always help you, but I can never receive help from you. And as I was breaking that down, it was terrifying. And it was interesting because as I got on to my spiritual path, as I started to go deeper and deeper into my studies and deeper into connecting with who I really am and my empathy and my intuition and all of those things, I had a whole group of friends that I thought, oh, these friendships are going to last forever, just completely fall away. And there was a period of time where it felt like I was on an island. And I realized at some point, oh, those relationships fell away because the version of me that created them is no longer the version of me that I'm bringing forward. It wasn't that I did anything wrong. It wasn't that they did anything wrong. It just had run its course. And one of the things that I teach people when we work on their relationship space is how to go through a process of letting go and clearing soul contracts and completing those energy cycles, because they often become like little hanging energies in our field, and we're carrying them with us and feeling like maybe we've done something wrong or maybe we failed because that relationship ended, and we don't actually have enough space in our relationship landscape for something new to come in. And so our relational space is its own energy field, just like our communication space is its own energy field. When I look at somebody's relationship space, I see it almost like in a bubble. And I can see all of the components of that relationship space. I can see their relationship to themselves. I can see their relationship to source or God or creator. I can see their relationship to the earth, to their family, to their partner, to their business colleagues, their work colleagues. I can see all of those different elements, and I see almost like a whole picture of how joyful and how balanced they are in that relationship space. And so when I'm giving somebody a healing, I'm really working with all of those elements at once and helping them to move beyond places where they're in loops or they're stuck in patterns. And I think that skill set that I have is something that everybody needs to be able to have. One of the things that the guides have told me is that the way we relate on the planet today and the way we're going to relate on the planet 10 years from now is so vastly different. We have a very microcosm focus of how we relate to someone right now. So for example, someone shows up in our lives and we have no awareness, if we're the average person, of the past life history that we have with them. We have no awareness of their traumas and triggers that they're bringing to the table. We're just meeting them as they're meeting us. And 9 times out of 10, there's not a lot of authenticity in those first connections because we're guarded, right? We have wounds, we have things that we're working through. And so one of the things that I want to teach people is like how to peel back the veil and see and begin to experience the totality of the person that they're relating to. Like activating abilities to tune into, okay, what were the patterns that we were dealing with in another lifetime? Like I'm open to receiving that information and understanding why this is so hard. What are my generational trauma patterns that I'm bringing to this relationship that are triggering things here? What is the other person maybe bringing to the relationship, and how do I talk to them and figure that out and go deep with them in that to understand that so that we can have a better relationship? So these are all kinds of things that I want to teach you all because I feel like we all need those skills. And the guides have told me that when we get access to more information and more connection to the unified field, we're going to be able to see all these things almost in real time. And so they always give me this visual and this example, so I'll share it with you. Imagine 2 light beings, right? 2 ETs showing up. They're meeting in space, right? Somewhere in space, they have 2 different light ships. One comes on from the other light ship to visit one of the extraterrestrials, and they have a meeting, let's say, right? They're getting to know each other. Instead of the way we meet people in physical bodies, the way they make these introductions is it's an energy exchange. And imagine meeting somebody and being able to see the totality of all of the experiences that you've had with them as a soul over all of their lifetimes. And imagine being able to have that information in that moment and realize that you actually do know this person even though it seems like you're meeting them for the first time. And imagine what that interaction would be like, right? That's how they do relationships in the higher dimensions, right? It's not so limited to the now. And that might sound really crazy to you. That might sound really complicated or really overwhelming. But my friends, eventually that's where we're headed, right? Our level of consciousness on this planet has so limited us to our now experience and so limited us to what we're aware of as just being the senses that are online in the moment. But we are working to expand that as a collective, right? Our telepathy is coming online. All these different skills and intuitive abilities are going to continue to come online. We're going to continue to connect in new ways, right? Like our own inner technology is expanding. And so that's where we're headed. But right now we have to figure out how to interact with each other and how to be as present as possible in that relationship and bring our authentic selves without having all of that data and all of that information. And so we've got a lot of polarity on this planet because of that. And I think this theme, relating anew, is about just looking at our relationships to self, to source, to earth, to family, to partners, to friends in a whole new light. And imagining what it would be like if we brought our whole selves to every relationship. And we weren't so afraid of how we would be received. We weren't so afraid of how we would be judged. How would that change our ability to connect with one another? And I tell people all the time, if you start a relationship with someone and you don't bring your whole self from the very beginning and you hide parts of you, and later there's a problem in the relationship and it's stemming because your resentment is there because you haven't brought all of yourself to the relationship table, whose fault is that? It's ours. It's ours, right? We can't blame our partner. We can't blame our friend for not understanding us and not meeting these unmet parts if we don't even bring them to the table. So I think it's important that we really expand our ability to hold our frequency, to bring our whole self to the table, and to bring more compassion and understanding into our relationships, and to allow there to be differences, to allow there to be polarity without taking it personal or feeling attacked or feeling judged. And then how do we hold boundaries with people and be in our discernment in situations where it's truly unsafe for us? And how do we honor that it feels unsafe? And how do we speak up? And how do we step out of those relationships? I think those are all skills that we need to expand on this planet. And I think it would really help us to raise our collective consciousness if we were to relate in these new ways. So there's a seed being planted this month, right? You may be noticing this. You may be noticing some relationship topics coming up. You may be noticing that you're wanting to show up differently in certain relationships, or ask for things, or use your voice differently. That's what this theme is all about. So if this energy and this theme lights you up, I hope you'll consider joining us for my New Earth Relating course. We start next Tuesday, January 23rd, and we're going to have a monthly module. You can read about it all on the website. We're going to start with relationship to self, which is the foundation of everything. And then we're going to move through all of our relationships: source, earth, family, right? We're going to do some generational healing in that module. We're also going to work with partnership and our relationship to community and to the collective and the earth collective overall. And it's going to transform your life, because our life and our happiness is so dictated by how we relate to others. It is such an integral part of what creates change for ourselves and what can create unhappiness for us if it's not in balance. So you can learn more about that class below this video. Either way, I'm so happy to be sharing this information with you all, and I hope I've planted a few seeds of awareness for you and some things for you to think about as we continue through this beautiful month of January. Stay warm if it's winter where you are, and have a beautiful day, my friend.